Hey gang, what's up? So I want to send some sales advice to you on this Power Week, specifically on dealing with folks who already have insurance or seemingly enough or a lot of life insurance. And it's going to come down obviously to your needs analysis, right? Making sure you're finding out, so John, when you do die, what would Mary need to use that money for today, right? And spending it and itemizing it, even if it's $1 million, and following up with that question. Okay, great. And what do you have after that? Until they're forced to say nothing. So it starts there, right? But from there, always avoiding an I don't need it. You can always guarantee that you can avoid an I don't need it through the use of your freedom of choice. And many of you know this, but again, just to reinforce it, okay, it takes 8 times of practicing and hearing something before it's committed to memory. So when you're with somebody who has life insurance and guaranteeing that they cannot tell you they don't need it, that they're all set with what they already have, it's going to come down to how you present that freedom of choice post needs analysis. So we've played the final expense video, right? So what we're going to do is examine your need for final expenses, John, because as of right now, you don't have anything for that to cover that. I'll let the video explain further, right? And the video is going to play, and now it's going to end, and we're going to pull out that freedom of choice, and we're going to ask them, let me ask you, John, have you ever been involved financially in a funeral? Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure you can imagine, if you had come home to the news yesterday that you had lost your brother Dave in a fatal car crash. Can you imagine how you would feel, right? Anybody would. Well, take that. Imagine that. And, do you know when funeral directors request the money and ask that they be paid? Right away, right? Now, I understand that you have $500,000 of life insurance, but we also just listed that, Mary's going to need that for the rent or the mortgage, just daily and weekly expenses. And with that, it would last a good solid 4.5 years, right? So Mary, again, would be 44 years old. Johnny's going to be 12 years old. And then we would need to figure things out from there, right? But let me ask you, they need money right away. It takes insurance a minimum of 1 month to 6 months to pay out. So you see the problem there? So I know you have the insurance, but let me ask you, would you ever want, okay, now she would do what she would need to do, but would you ever want, and this is the key question, guys, listen to this, would you ever want Mary to have to bring in your $500,000 policy to a funeral director? No. Right? No member has ever said yes to that. Now, if you have to, you have to, but that really compromises everything that you have that policy in place to do for Mary. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but even if she brings in the $500,000, does the funeral director know that they're going to get any of that money? No, because they don't know what your other debts are. They don't know if your mortgage is $600,000. So funeral directors legally are allowed to be named as primary lien holder on the entire policy, okay, to guarantee that they do receive funding. And during that time, the whole policy is now tied up. So all those other things that you said you wanted Mary to do with that money and Mary needs to do with that money are all in limbo, okay? So in fact, anytime we sit with members who are responsible as you are, who already have insurance set up for all those things, they love this freedom of choice, because what it does is it guarantees that the insurance you already have goes to what it needs to go to. So it really becomes insurance for your insurance, so that can work as you intend it to. But as far as those upfront expenses on the worst day of Mary's life, we'll make sure it's just one phone call that you'll have to deal with, and we'll take care of it. And then our other money will be there in due time to take care of all those other assets. Makes sense, right? All right, great. Let me explain how it works. Okay, guys? And if you present that, and again, that key question, would you ever want your spouse to have to bring in your $100,000 policy to a funeral director? Would you ever want your spouse to have to bring in your $250,000 policy to a funeral director? In my 12 plus years here, guys, I've never had somebody with life insurance, when I ask that question, say, yeah, absolutely, I don't care. They all say no. And once they say no, I wouldn't want that, you're golden, because they can't then later on tell you, I don't need that, because they've already said, yeah, I need the freedom of choice to avoid that. So I hope that tip helps you guys. I hope you're out there crushing it. Let's get in homes. Let's protect some families. We'll have some more tips coming at you throughout the week.